Hello, I'm happy to see you for this second episode of the French Playground. So today we're going to talk about a topic that is a bit difficult because it can be different from other languages. So today we're going to talk about the French expressions. So why it is important to know French expression? Because we actually use them a lot. Sometimes you can need a key to understand what it means because it's come from old tradition, some old French, for example, or old habits we used to have in France, and it can be difficult to understand what it exactly means. Sometimes it's a bit more obvious, and you just need to put the pictures all together in your head, and then you'll understand the meaning. So let's get started. So the first one is actually one of my favorite. It's called poser un lapin. So in English, it would be the equivalent of to put a rabbit. So what is this rabbit doing in this story? So actually, when you do that, you poser un lapin, that means you don't come to an appointment, un rendezvous, and you actually don't take the time to notice the person that was waiting for you. So you can either poser un lapin if you don't come, either someone can vous poser un lapin if someone was supposed to come and didn't took the time to warn you. So this one is actually very common, and it's one of those expressions. If you don't have the key to understand it, it can be very difficult to understand it when someone is telling you that. Okay, the next one is another one that I really like. It's passer du coq à l'âne. So to go from the rooster to the donkey. Well, this one is actually a bit more obvious than the previous one, but still a bit difficult. So, passer du coq à l'âne is just to change the topic with no reason, quickly, and it was unexpected. So, sometimes when you have conversation with several people, and then someone just totally changed the topic, was talking about history, and then directly talk about his kids, you can say, tu es passé du coq à l'âne. Well, that means you just totally changed the topic, or it's not related at all to the topic. The next one is a bit easier. To call a cat, appeler un chat, un chat. Well, this one is just calling a thing by its name. So sometimes when you're just turning around the topic and you don't really want to say the word, mainly because it's a bit taboo, someone can say appelle un chat, just say the word. It's just to make something which is obvious for everybody and ask someone to say that word he doesn't want to say. Okay. And then we have rendre l'âme, to give your soul back, to give back the soul. So this one sounds actually a bit sad because it's usually means death. But the way we use it is actually way funnier. So we use it when something like an object, a phone, a car, a TV, actually is broken. So we're going to say le téléphone a rendu l'âme. So it's actually a very funny way to personify objects and something which is really enjoyable. Okay. Up. The next one. Prendre quelque chose au pied de la lettre. So when you say that, to take something at the foot of the letter, it sounds a bit weird when you translate it, but it's actually very simple. It's when you take something too literally, when you don't see the meaning behind it, but you're just doing what it's saying. For example, we can say that with the religious text, when someone is prend le texte au pied de la lettre, that just means they don't think what's behind it. They just act as they read it. So it's actually also a nice expression that you can say to someone who didn't understand the meaning of something you said. For example, tu l'as trop pris au pied de la lettre. You didn't look for the meaning behind it. Okay, I really like this one. Jeter un œil. And I believe that my Russian students might understand this one because you have exactly the same one there. So to throw an eye. Why would you throw an eye actually? Well, it's very simple. Jeter un œil is just actually give a quick look. You just want to see quickly what's in there. So for example, if you're doing some shopping and you just want to have a quick look to a shop or a particular item, you're just going to say, je vais jeter un œil. I don't really want to buy anything. I just want to have a look. This is what jeter un œil means. Just a quick look. But don't throw it too much because you need your two eyes. Okay. So those expressions were really French expressions that we use in France. But we don't only speak French in France. We speak French in countries around France, like Belgium or Switzerland, but also in Africa, especially in the north part of Africa, and in Canada, and in some countries in Asia too. There's many places where they speak French. Are the expressions the same? Unfortunately, they're not. Because, as I told you at the beginning, they're linked to the history and the culture. So if you change the country, you're going to have to change the expression. So first, we're going to make a stop in Canada. This expression, parler à travers son chapeau, to talk through your hat. What does it mean? Because even if you try to picture the scene, it's not that easy. It's actually simple. It's when someone is talking about something he doesn't know and he's just trying to say a lot when he doesn't have a lot to say. It's just trying to show that he's got knowledge about it, but actually doesn't got knowledge at all. So it's usually used for gossips. If you like gossips, that's a good expression for you. Okay, now let's go to Senegal. I really like that expression, conduire sur des tablettes de chocolat, to drive on chocolate bars. So just try to picture yourself drive on chocolate bars. It won't be something very enjoyable. So they use that expression to say that the road is very bumpy. So it's actually a very obvious situation because here, if you put all the pictures in your head, you are able to understand what it means. Okay, now let's go to meet my neighbors, the Belgian people. Être bleu de quelqu'un, to be blue of someone. It actually doesn't mean to be bored at someone or to be mad, it just means to be in love with someone. It's a very poetical way to say to someone that you like him, but he might not understand it if he doesn't know that expression already. And now let's go to the Ivory Coast with this expression, avoir deux bouches, to have two mouths. So this one just means that you're saying different things according to the people you're speaking to. You don't really have a straight speech. To some people, you're going to say one thing, and to other people, you're going to say other thing. So it's also another expression to gossip about someone. And finally, so we're going back in France with that expression that comes from Marseille. Marcel, tu tires ou tu pointes. So, Marcel, you're pulling or you pointing. This one needs a bit more explanation. So actually it comes from the game of pétanque that you can see on the corner here. So, tirer ou pointer are two different strategies to throw the balls. So when you're saying that to someone, it just means, hey, are you gonna do something or are you gonna come? So when you're a bit bored because someone is supposed to come with you or to do something and is just thinking and not doing any move, you can just say, hey, tu tires ou tu pointes? So are you thinking or are you actually acting? Okay, so just before ending that video, I would like to say that the French expressions, as I said in the beginning, are very, very important. We use them all around French-speaking countries, and I use them without thinking about it because to express something, it's more natural to say it with an expression than to say it without it. It's just explained sometimes a complex situation very easily, and you need only two words instead of one or two sentences. And I told you, French people are quite lazy, so they're usually gonna use those expressions maybe to be a bit more poetic, or maybe just to shorten their answer. The expression can change, as we saw, according to the country, according to the area where you're in France. So the expression in south of France might not be understood by people from west part of France or north part of France, which can be a bit awkward when you're traveling around France. But they're also changing according to the family or the group of people you're with, because some families or some people just create their own expression, and then it's spreading with the people around the group. For example, in the place where I come from, Marseille, because it's very close to North Africa, we use often in our expression nowadays some Arabic words because we're close to people that speaks Arabic. But I believe that, for example, in the eastern part of France, next to Germany, they might use more German words. So you need to get used to those expressions, to look for some expression you enjoy and to add them to your word book, because there is no really reason why someone is going to use more that expression instead of this expression, or instead of saying it another way. We just use expression because we believe they're nice and they're enjoyable. So just get started to look for your favorite French expressions. Try maybe to understand the meaning behind it, because they also have an history which is quite often very interesting, the reason why we say those words together. And finally, I would like to thank you all, because I received a lot of support from all of my students, and that was very heartwarming. So I'm gonna keep on doing my best, and I'll probably see you next Sunday. Have a nice weekend and see you soon.